What is up, Lit and Lucid podcast fans? We are happy to have you back for season 8 of the show. This season is brought to you by Vera Health, an amazing cannabis company located right here in Denver, Colorado. Visit our website, litlucid.com, to learn more about our sponsors and to view our previous episodes. And if you're enjoying the show, be sure to share with a friend and give us a review on your favorite platform. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Lucy and Jared.
Welcome everybody to the Lit and Lucid podcast. We are here recording live at the Westword offices in Denver, Colorado. We have a special guest tonight for everybody. We have some people from Westword. We have Anna Zarrella. She is the marketing and sales coordinator at Westword. We have Jenny Baker-Strasburg. She's the co-founder of Jam Productions. We have Mary Spicer. She's also a co-founder of Jam Productions. We have Jane West. She's the founder of Women Grow and Jane West Brand, as well as Nikki Kujawski. She is with Stillwater Brands. Tonight we have a great panel scheduled for you guys. We're going to talk a lot about the new Westword High Style event that's going to be coming here in Denver on March 5th. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with Jane West. I know you are the founder of Women Grow back in 2014, and that company has grown exponentially and has really gained popularity among the cannabis industry, among both women and men. So why don't you just get us started? Why did you get started in cannabis, and where are you at today?
Well, I started in the cannabis industry in Denver, Colorado. That's where Women Grow was founded. I started doing events here, which at the time the city and county didn't want to be a legal event, and so I had a hard time finding my place. But in doing that, I got a lot of media attention for what we did with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra and whatnot. And women from all over the world were contacting me and asking me, how do I get in the cannabis industry? I want to be part of this movement. I want to be involved in this industry. And so that was what led to the starting Women Grow, especially because Colorado, so many amazing things happened in Colorado with them being the first state to really legalize. So, yes.
Okay. And then I know then in 2016 you transitioned a little bit.
Yes.
And got into glassware as well as some cannabis products. And I think it was because you noticed something was missing in the market, maybe for cannabis consumers like yourself. Do you want to explain a little bit more about that?
Well, after a couple of years in the industry, we saw how things were going, but there really just weren't brands that were catering to daily flower consumers and people that wanted a different look and feel to the glassware they have around their home. Like, when we have guests over, you bring out glassware related to wine, and in places like Colorado, you want to bring out glassware related to consuming cannabis. And so that's how we designed the glassware line. And we led to the travel collection because people wanted to be able to have a measurable amount of cannabis they consume on the go. And so those were the first products that we started, and they were designed here, and they've led to really great success worldwide.
And I think that what you did, it's more a nod at the sophisticated cannabis consumer. I started my journey with cannabis starting Green Love Denver, and when I started, it was kind of this thing where there was nothing that spoke to me. Like, everything was Rasta print, and it's kind of tacky, and like, that's not my style. And I always say, like, it's canna classy is kind of what I'm looking for. And I think that that's really what you're doing with your glass line.
Right. Well, we wanted to design products that would look like anything else in your purse.
Yep. Or on your shelf. It's like a
right.
vase.
Exactly. Nothing you would put away. You bring it out when guests come over.
Awesome. All right. Well, Nikki, let's switch it over to you. Why did you get started in the cannabis industry, and then maybe kind of circle back to what Stillwater's doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got started in the cannabis industry in 2016 with Stillwater Brands. And at that time, we were launching a 2.5 milligram microdose loose leaf organic tea, which is the Stillwater tea, kind of our flagship product. And so that product was very new. A new concept for the industry at that point, because not only was it a microdose, which a lot of people weren't necessarily up to date on at that point, it also was a loose leaf organic tea product, very similar kind of to what Jane was trying to accomplish, that was something that people were used to. You're used to having tea. We had a green tea, a mint tea, and a black tea to kind of bring you throughout your day. Our mint tea was caffeine free, so really had a lot of people using that before bed. And it was just a product that hadn't necessarily hit the market yet, and for a consumer that wasn't necessarily walking into dispensaries yet. So at that time, we had a lot of pushback from the industry because people were saying, hey, like we're used to 100 milligram products per container. We're used to people who want to get high. And our argument was like, there are plenty of people who are going to get high off of 2.5 milligrams. So kind of fast forward to right now, where we are at this moment. Stillwater now has evolved quite a bit. We've really found our place in the industry in the dissolvables category. So kind of our biggest product right now is Ripple. It is a dissolvable powder that you can add to anything. It's calorie-free, sugar-free, discreet, something that you can feel comfortable using. We get a lot people who go to bars who aren't necessarily drinking, they feel awkward not having a glass in their hand because it's something that in society we've just become so used to walking up to someone, having that almost like a security blanket when you're in a social situation. So having that, the ability to consume cannabis in a way that feels so normal in this social situation, Ripple has really taken off from there. And we have some other products, but that's really what we're looking for when the consumer that we're trying to attract is someone who might not be who you would think of who's walking into a dispensary right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's me sometimes. I mean, not every time I go to the bar, I want to be, consuming alcohol. But you're totally right. I love that you eloquated it with, sometimes you're just going to have something in your hand, Mm-hmm. Even when we have parties at our house, we always pick up alcohol for our friends that aren't cannabis consumers. But even Lucy and I were like, well, probably people have one, Most of the time it's like a struggle. We just don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. But you do feel bad. You wanted to, walk around, socialize, and be casual with a drink in your hand. So it's a nice compliment.
And I think that that's really something that people are bringing to light right now because there, and a lot of people. I heard the term recently, sober curious. My fiance is actually doing it, but it's essentially the idea that we're not going to have rules about him not drinking, but he wants to kind of explore what life is like without alcohol and has really enjoyed it. He went to a bachelor party 2 weeks ago, so he consumed their alcohol, but it's something that we've just become. Alcohol is such a part of our society, and I think that there's a lot of people who really are looking for that alternative. When we first launched Stillwater, we were really looking at moms who wanted to come home from work and take a load off, but then also still feel like they could be active, if something happened with their child or if they just needed to do one of the amazing things that moms do because they have to do everything. But, really just making sure that there was a product for that person. And so that's, to bring it full circle with the High Style event, that's really why the event attracted us, was really to, we are constantly looking for ways to engage that consumer. And they are people who traditionally aren't walking into dispensaries. So we're really trying to make it clear to them, like, we want you guys part of our industry. We want you to feel as though there are products on the market for you, and it's not all just about taking, as much cannabis as you can.
That's what I love about Stillwater Brands is that it's 0 calorie option. And so once you start adding up the calories in those glasses of wine, not just the headaches, it really starts to add up.
And I think that also goes back to your brand as well. I think that might have been also why Women Grow was such a success, is you were bringing in, those moms or
definitely
the kind of curious,
well,
and you were offering them a safe space.
Yes, with the monthly meetings especially in cities in like prohibition states, it really brought this group of people out of the woodwork that had never had someone trying to gather them all together, and people really found their people there. So that's really why those communities are still so tight.
All right. Well, just switching gears a little bit, we also, with all of that said, it might have been a little bit of inspiration behind, the High Style event. So, ladies, you want to explain to us a little bit more about the event and the inspiration behind it?
Sure. So Mary and I have been in the fashion industry for over 20 years each, both working in New York and obviously here in Denver. But when I moved back from New York 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with a pretty rare and serious immunodeficiency. And as a result, I had to start receiving immunoglobulin infusions. And they were pretty tough to tolerate. So my sober husband actually said to me, hey, have you thought about maybe trying cannabis to help tolerate these infusions? And I actually hadn't, but I did. So I got my medical card, and the recommendations that were being made for me at the dispensary were not good for a person like me. The dose was too high. They had other inflammatory ingredients. And so I enrolled in a ton of classes. I researched it on my own. And as I was on this journey, Mary and I started to see a ton of amazing collaborations pop up within the cannabis, beauty, and wellness space. And we thought, wow, what an opportunity to throw an event and educate people like us.
Interesting. And what about for you, Anna? What
Yeah.
was Westword's inspiration?
Yeah, so I mean, working with Jenny and Mary and Jam Productions, bringing it all to life. I mean, Westword was the first newspaper in the country to have a cannabis editor, so just being the first to bring an event like this to life and making it about a total encompassing all aspects of your life, not just like the typical stoner where I'm going to consume, I'm going to smoke like this, but having it in your beverage, having it as a part of what you wear, having it just in your lifestyle. So that's where it all came about, and the collaboration was born, and bringing brands like Stillwater and bringing Jane in and just finding like-minded people to build the event with us. And it's really transformed from the original vision as people have come in to be a part of it.
That's great. And let's also talk about Jane. I know last year Women's Grow was involved with New York Fashion Week.
Yes.
So maybe explain to everybody a little bit more about that.
Well, so that Women Grow formed a partnership with Koto to develop a line of clothing for New York Fashion Week. And that was really the first step of us coming to this point and her bringing her collection here. And so she designed 26 different looks, and they were all made from either hemp or sustainable fabrics. And the models used in the show represented a diverse range of age and size, and it was just amazing. And so that was the first step, and they were able to attend this event. So that was the next step to bring it here.
Yeah. I mean, it was really just a revolutionary show. New York Fashion Week in the Piers. Big shout out to Christina Nault, who runs the Piers. She did a fantastic job with them and her crew. Kato Momalu she uses jute, she uses cork, and she understands that sustainability, it's more than one fabric. It's not just everything hemp, it's not just everything organic cotton, it's not just everything cork. It's a big circle that we need to do. There's so many people that one type of thing cannot support everyone. Everybody cannot eat fish, and that's just not sustainable for the world. So it's the same with fashion. As far as getting the fashion into the cannabis and the cannabis into the fashion, I talk to a lot of people about this, and they say, I don't get it. I don't understand. You have fashion, you have pot, and I'm like, oh God, okay. Well, the stigma is changing. It's turning around. It's not your stoner. It's not a taco in a joint. It's moving into supporting people and the changing landscape. People aren't out drinking as much anymore. The whole landscape is changing, and fashion is an art. I know other people will disagree with me, and that's fine, but I have worked with these designers for years, and the care and the love and the artistic vision that they have with the laying of the fabrics and sourcing it and working with people and making sure that it's sourced from good representations, not just the factories and we don't know who those people are kind of thing. Closing the loop. It's really changed. And this art of fashion is just a reflection of what's happening in the world. So like if you go to Monet, you go to Denver Art Museum or anything like that, you look at the picture, in those days, they didn't watch TV. They sat around the harpsichord, they sat around the piano, maybe they were sitting outside. We don't do that, we sit around the
Way
TV.
better, simpler times, I feel like.
Simpler times. We know what foods they ate. If you look at paintings on the wall in the cave, you know what they ate, what they hunted, what they were doing. And so when you look at fashion, it's also representing today. It's what's happening. It's the lifestyle, and it's mirror imaging what's happening on the runway, on the street, on the people. So, and it's also talking about what goes inside, what goes outside. It's thoughtful all the way through. And I think that we've really turned a corner with that.
I like that. So essentially you're incorporating, you're not excluding cannabis as, oh, those people don't have culture, blah, blah, blah. There's totally culture associated with cannabis. I think we're all aware of that. And then I think fashion obviously fits into any type of culture.
Correct.
So I mean, it's not even a question really to us why cannabis and fashion go together.
Well, Van Gogh has that picture of the skull with they call it a cigarette, maybe. Sure, it's a cigarette. And it's been around for a long time, and we've seen it throughout the art, and it only makes sense that fashion is on the forefront. We're always pushing the boundaries. Art pushes the boundaries. Music pushes the boundaries. So all of this comes together. And everyone in here, Westword, we are all like out there, doing this, blazing a trail where it hasn't been blazed before. You guys are. I mean, it's not easy, and we're all in it. and I think it makes sense that it's from the Wild West.
Yeah.
I like that.
Agreed.
I like that. And I can't wait to talk about later. I'm sad that Brian DeHaven's not with us, and we've seen him at the Indo Expo, and he brought up a great point that I want to talk about probably in the next segment because I think we can really get into it. But cannabis and fashion. What is cannabis fashion, and what does that encompass? And we were trying to talk to Brian about women's fashion with cannabis, and he was like, "I'm stumped. I needed somebody that's like, I guess a girl who smokes weed to help me and has fashion." And he's like totally trying to find this archetype right now of what is that? And so
Oh gosh, we'll help him. Yeah,
there we go.
Brian.
This is what this
I'm
is
sorry
all
we
about.
missed you today, but yeah, there are a lot of women smoking blunts and or drinking water. You don't know what we're doing, but we're doing a lot, and it's definitely fashionable. And it's the difference between a bottle of liquor in a paper bag. We're having a cocktail. We're having a scotch on the rocks. Maybe we're having what's another good drink? Martini. I do love a martini, a nice glass of wine, a glass of water with a little infusion, and it's in the beautiful containers. All of this, comes together. It's
There's
beautiful.
definitely a ritual to it, even more so than, in my opinion, drinking, because it's just drinking, especially in American society, is just like drinking, consuming, consumption, the next one, the cold one. And with cannabis, it's just more ritualistic. You don't do it as often over the course of an evening. And so there's pieces that go with that reinforce that positive experience you're looking for.
Absolutely. And cannabis is one of the only things that we kind of do collectively as a group, like where you're really just like passing it down the line. and,
Right.
like,
Yeah, it's totally a
coming
social
together.
thing.
So, yeah, it's great. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thanks.
Using the knowledge they gained in the pharmaceutical industry, Vera Health is transforming the CBD space with products that actually work.
With their scientific formulations and a world-class team, Vera Health creates CBD products with superior bioavailability for endocannabinoid system support. Vera Health products include CBD oral micromist sprays, CBD topical salves, and CBD soft gel capsules.
See what everyone is talking about and try for yourself at www.verahealth.com. Vera, because it works. All right, we're back, everybody. Thanks for our sponsors for the season. Without our sponsors, we absolutely would not be here to showcase all these wonderful ladies and talk about all these wonderful events that are happening. So thank you again to our sponsors. I do want to dive back into the topic we were addressing right before this, because there is a lot more that goes into it, and I think clearly it encompasses a lot of what we're talking about today, and that's back into what is cannabis fashion and what does that even look like. Lucy brought up a good point to me about how there's like streetwear and then there's high fashion, and there's totally, those could be totally two different things. And so I think we wanted to kind of talk about what do those look like? Who are those people? And then kind of how do the two kind of play with each other and kind of coexist in this culture? Is there anybody that wants to?
No, I love that. I would beg to differ and say that high fashion and streetwear are becoming one and the same.
Ooh, I love that.
We are evolving. I mean, just like being Colorado sober or what do you call it, canna-sober, or what have you, and cannabis coming into it, and sustainability. Streetwear has gotten bigger all the time. People are wearing products like Dickies on the runway, on the red carpet. They're not even asking, they're not giving it to them. They just simply, this is what they chose to wear to the Grammys or what have
That's
you.
happening with Carhartt.
Yeah,
Carhartt.
Carhartt's a big deal. I grew up on a farm. I grew up in a really small town in Colorado. And I grew up with Carhartt. We'd have to go feed the animals and put on our Carhartt overalls because it's freezing outside.
That's
And
sexy.
then it's kind of sexy.
Yeah.
I mean, back then I'm like, this
But it
stuff's
wasn't
dirty.
then.
I mean, whatever. And it's dirty work. And then here I am. We're 25 years later or so, and people are downtown Denver wearing Carhartt beanies and jackets and shirts, and all I could think is hopefully they went to Big R or somewhere and bought it, and gave money back to the farm community. But it's totally sorry to interject, but it's totally different nowadays than it used to be. I mean, clearly that's a great example of here's, small town farm lifestyle, and now it's street fashion downtown.
Well, I think also with the way the economy has changed and the gig economy more, so people don't have these set rules that they have to follow. Like in some bigger cities, everybody kind of looks the same in the financial district, but beyond that, people really, you're used to seeing pictures of founders and just jeans and hoodies, and that makes them cooler. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Because I think when we were talking to Brian briefly about his Alpine Hemp Company, I think we were talking about how does that fit into what you guys were doing? Because I asked him, I was like, are you guys going to be have a runway show? And he's like, no, I don't think so. And he's like, I felt like he didn't feel like he fit in. So it's do you feel like that look is also encompassing now in high fashion?
Absolutely, Jenny, right? Because the skate, culture and everything, all of that is high fashion. When you really talk about high fashion, back in the day or even today, there's still haute couture. And haute couture actually means high sewing. And you have to apply to actually be considered haute couture. So the houses that are haute couture have been approved in France to have that label. We use it quite easily in America, but there are only so many that can really say that they are that, and there's only so many people. You're talking about people where it takes 30 hours of sewing and 150 hours of hand beadwork, and people are paying that. That is haute couture. Then when you get into high style, when we're talking about that, we're talking about sustainability. We're talking about saving the earth and looking good doing it. We don't have to look bad anymore. It's sort of like when you first became a vegetarian and the stuff you ate, I don't know if you know, but I'm a little bit older, and the stuff we ate was like sawdust, and you're like, I believe. And now you go to the store and there's almond milk or oat milk. It's all tasting so great. And people are like, oh, I don't know how you eat that. Very easily, because I used to eat sawdust. And the clothing is, people go, oh, it's sustainable clothing. Oh my gosh, saving the earth's a bad thing. You can be a sexy superhero and wear some fabulous clothing, and it can be at every price point, which is what we put in there into the runway. Yeah, you can, it's not too high of a price. It's not too low, but, at every price point, you can find some really great looks.
I think that's a good point. And Carhartt makes damn good clothing too. So for the price, it's going to last you. That's super sustainable.
They can come. We'll put them on the runway.
Right. But I think that is a good point, and I think it does illustrate how, I'm not big on fashion. I can't say I follow it as much, but what you said does make sense that, fashion probably used to be pretty regimented, and this is what you have to do. And those cultural norms are breaking down now, I think, and people are finding their freedom, and they're finding their freedom to express that through fashion. And it's art. It's like they're creating their own art and their own style.
Yep.
I think it's also important to mention that a lot of the luxury designers in the big houses, they draw a ton of inspiration from the street. They're looking at, what's coming up, what the next big thing is.
Dapper Dan.
Yeah, what the trends are. And you can really see that if you watch the Fashion Week shows. It's pretty evident.
Yeah.
How trends are established? And I'm totally new to fashion, so is that what people look for? Is there just somebody that just starts doing something and somebody, you know, it's like a plague that everybody starts doing it, or how does fashion start?
I think people just look for inspiration.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, if I'm walking down the street during Fashion Week and I see a kid that's wearing these bright neon colors and I think, oh, that's really great, maybe I'll bring that into my designs next season. You know, you do see it reflecting the street. And, you know, it's sort of like people saying, if the city could see what the country's doing now. And, you know, so you have people like us and events like this, we are able to blaze the trail, you know, podcasts like yours, you're able to start that where other people were a little bit too afraid and maybe you just didn't have that opportunity in the city. We have more availability here in Colorado to do the things that you weren't able to do in those settings.
And I think even Women Grow did that at New York Fashion Week. It was T-shirts and like
Yep.
hoodies and jackets and things like that.
Yeah.
And they were decent price points. Like you could definitely buy a piece or two.
Definitely. I think once what we learned too was that it doesn't just have to be something that, like you said, price point and is so luxury. I think with so many people talking about fast fashion and like how unsustainable that is to like buy new things every year. Hopefully people are spending a little bit more for sustainable fabrics made from a company that they know, like, and trust, and then have that one jacket for just a much longer period of time. And so we found that like we made some really high quality items at the right price point, and we're able to do that so that people could partake no matter like where you came into the game.
Awesome. Okay, well, what can we expect if we went to the High Style event coming up here in March?
Do you want to go through it?
You go ahead.
Oh, no,
You're on a roll. Well, a lot. We have a ton of programming. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's food and cocktail sampling throughout the evening. You can speak to that a little bit. We have 2 fabulous fashion shows, one featuring Packed, along with Simple Shoes and High Society Collection. Are you familiar with Erin Colvin?
We're not.
Oh, she has a beautiful jewelry line, and the pieces double as smoking accessories.
Oh, cool.
Lovely.
So, and then we have an amazing musician coming to perform on the runway named Wokes. We have our fashion.
She's up and coming.
Yeah, she's amazing. She'll be at all the fashion weeks, and then I don't know how we got her, but we did. We're so grateful. And then, of course, we have our show with Cateau.
Oh, wait, what's Wokes wearing? What's Wokes wearing?
You talk about that.
So we called up our friend in New York, Becca, and McCharn Tran, and she is the founder of Chromat. And I don't know if you know Chromat clothing, but I'm pretty sure everyone's seen a couple of Beyonce's or Lizzo's videos, but she dresses some of the singers and some of the dancers, and it's pretty amazing. It's very structural with a lot of boning and things like that. So she is going to dress Wokes for our show as well.
That's exciting.
And then, of course, Cateau, and we have fabulous educational programming. We have a panel, and then Jane and Robin Lawrence are doing a cooking demo.
Yes. So Robin put together the Cannabis Kitchen cookbook back a few years ago, and I wrote the foreword to the book. And at the time, we did a bunch of these demos. And so now we're back with all the best recipes, and it's going to be awesome.
And all of the activations are going to be really engaging. It is not a B2B event, it's consumer facing. So we really want to open up a direct dialogue between our attendees and our partners and sponsors. We want our guests to leave knowing what their options are within this space in relation to fashion, beauty, wellness, all of it.
Yeah, I feel like you're creating a full experience. Like you were saying earlier, like it's not just a fashion show. You're going to have options like learn how to infuse your foods. And, you know, like we were talking about, like mindfulness and like how to consciously consume. And I think that all goes together, as well as some educational pieces about sustainability and kind of what that consumer looks like.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. And what about you, Nikki? I know you guys are going to do some fun things at the event too.
Yeah, we're really excited. So we actually have Corey, who is our GM. She is going to be speaking on one of these panels that we were just talking about. But in addition, what we're planning for this event is pretty exciting. We have some small teacups that we are getting that as you walk into the event, you're going to be handed. It's kind of I forget what the name of it, double barrier, whatever. It's the 2 glass.
Yes,
Do you guys know what that's
yes.
called? But anyway, I almost think of like a small espresso cup type. And so that's going to be your tasting cup for the night. And you walk in and there's going to be a CBD hot mint tea for you to try. We will also have that in our booth with our staff to help educate people and help them understand exactly what it is. But you know, the big thing for this event that we had talked through was not having any sugar. And that's something that I think a lot of people right now are equating with specifically cannabis edibles, because you know, gummies are flying off the shelves. People love chocolate. But you know, I think at the end of the day, when you're really talking about a product that you are introducing into your wellness practice, whatever that means, if it's, you know, taking something in the morning with CBD in it, or if it means taking some THC to help you get to bed at the end of the night, whatever that might be, it's really important to have some options for either people who can't have sugar, or just trying to live a healthier life, because right, that's also part of wellness. So it's really, you know, we really like to meet people where they're at wellness. You know, we have people who we're excited because their goals for the year include walking 10 minutes every day, you know, and so, you know, at the end of the day, whatever that is for you, whatever those steps are, we want to help you incorporate cannabis into that routine. So it's really just kind of, you know, when people walk into the event, we want to show them like, look how easy it is to consume cannabis. Look how simple it is to have something that you already may or may not consume. You know, many people wake up and have a hot beverage, whether that's coffee or tea. So that can be part of just your everyday routine without having to do something extra or having to eat extra calories or have extra sugar in your diet.
That's exciting. That's what I was going to point out, is this sounds like everyday people like me and you and everybody, you know, like tea's great. Tea's in season right now. And I think everybody would love to consume some CBD in their tea and not have to necessarily light up a joint or take a dab or, you know, find another way to consume cannabis. And I think that's what's exciting about where we're at right now. I mean, we're able to introduce cannabis and fashion as a thing, and then also to introduce, I mean, cannabis and tea. I mean, that's exciting. And then, you know, outside of what everybody thinks of cannabis, I think really what this event does is help to break a lot of stigmas that have been placed on cannabis over the past, you know, 40, 50, 60 years in the big scheme.
And I think, you know, speaking on what we were talking to before, you know, I think that when they were describing with, you know, the fashion industry, they're really trying to bring, you know, fashion into every day, and we're trying to bring cannabis into every day, and we're trying to, you know, the high quality fashion of, you know, understanding what materials are going to last you forever and things like that, understanding the quality of cannabis. So, you know, I think I had an interesting conversation with someone the other day, and I was introducing them to our gummy supplements, and you know, as they were chewing, I was like, hey, you know, notice how you don't have necessarily that hashy taste at the end. And they said, I didn't know that was possible. And I never knew to look for that, because I thought that a hashy taste at the end of a gummy was just a cannabis gummy. And so I think that we're doing the same thing, where we're trying to really show people that there is a quality, accurate product. You know, our accuracy and precision is really the basis of what our company is. We're a food company, but we really want our consumers to know that they can trust our doses. So we are very, very stringent on testing, and we make sure that we can stand behind that dose, because we think that's really important. We have people who 5 milligrams is going to be the perfect amount. 6 milligrams is going to be too much. 5.5 milligrams might be too much. And I think that there are certain standards that people are now learning that you can hold cannabis companies to. And, you know, very similar to fashion, where I want someone to understand the benefits of that. I want someone to understand the benefits of having a high quality, accurate dose for their product.
Well, that all sounds super exciting about the event. How can people join us?
Yeah, so if you visit westwardhighstyle.com, you can check all of the programming out, as well as our different ticket levels. We have general admission and VIP. Each are wonderful. VIP does include a meet and greet with Kato Mamalu, as well as Wokes. And you get a wonderful VIP gift bag. You get unlimited full pour cocktails all night. And lots of other wonderful things.
Seat for the fashion show.
A seat for the fashion show, most importantly. Thank you. So a seat, you get to meet the main designer. So yeah.
And every guest will walk away with a phenomenal gift bag. That alone could be reason to come.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, if you're interested in registering, just check out the Westword. They're on your
yeah,
website.
westwardhighstyle.com. You can also go to westward.com. We're always showing it off and advertising it on our site. And our hashtag on social media is WWHighStyle. So you can look for it there too.
Yes, that's a great way to find you guys. And then use code LITLUCID if you'd like to get a little added discount for registration. But yeah, we're super excited. We can hardly wait for the event on the 5th. And then if we have any last closing remarks from Jane and Nikki, we'll wrap up.
Yeah. Well, right now, I am conducting an equity crowdfunding campaign. It's the second one I've done. The first one, we got 550 investors from 17 countries. And right now, we're on track to double the number of investors at least. So this is something that we only get to do for a certain amount of time. So I encourage you to go to republic.co and read about what we're building. It's a great way. I love having my customers actually invested in our company. And so that's what we get to do here.
That's exciting. And then Jam Productions, is there a good way, if somebody wants to reach out to you guys, is there a way they can find you?
Oh, yep, just via our website, jamproductionsco.com.
Excellent. And then what about Stillwater? If somebody wants to learn more about Stillwater Ripple prior to the event?
So on our website, stillwaterbrands.life, we have plenty of information about all of our products, where to find them. And then you can also find us on social at stillwater.life as well.
Exciting times. I learned a ton here. I think I'm going to learn even more at the event. I think the biggest thing that I took from all this is that sustainability and fashion are totally a thing now. That's something that I had no clue about prior to this. So thank you, ladies, for introducing me to that. I do think it's something that I'm going to try to incorporate, be more mindful about when I'm purchasing more clothes. You know, how long is this going to last me? Maybe go after the Carhartt brands that are going to last a while. These are made well, I'm telling you. I've been wearing them my whole life, so vouch for them.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for sharing about the event. We're super excited for the 5th. With that, I'm Lit.
I'm Lucid.
And that's it.
Laters.